how to get great arching cartwheels. Let's look at that in detail, but first, what are arching cartwheels to start with? For me, the stereotypical arching cartwheel is a forward cartwheel. You start like a regular cartwheel, but then you come out with single leg arching exit. It's the form that looks so elegant and beautiful, and that is very similar to a front walkover that you might know from gymnastics. But here's the key, here's the trick. The forward cartwheel is much easier than a full-on front walkover. You need less flexibility. Why? We'll get to that in a second. But there are also other arching cartwheels. For example, the reversal is very similar to the forward cartwheel, but the hand pattern is different, contralateral, so slight difference here. The helicoptero is an arching cartwheel as well. And for me, the backwards cartwheel, which is essentially a forward cartwheel reversed, is also an arching cartwheel. Why? Because we enter through a single leg arching position, and then we come out, we exit through a regular cartwheel shape. So what is the cornerstone here? It's that single leg arching shape, that specific landing position where you essentially one part of your body is forming like a bridge, but then you've got one arm in the air and one foot in the air. That those are raising your center of mass, and these free limbs allow you to then swing your way all the way up to come to stand. That is pretty much what determines as well the quality of your arching cartwheels. How good is your single leg arching route? That's the crux and the peak of every single arching cartwheel. So for that, something that we'll cover and that you will discover for yourself is the distance that you can place your hand and your feet together, specifically the last hand and the first foot that is landing. The closer they are together, the easier it tends to be to get your center of mass over to that new base of support, essentially forming a gap, and the smaller the gap is, the easier it is to jump over. Once your weight is on that first leg, then you essentially know you've done the move, you've finished. But the cool thing here for the forward cartwheel compared to bridge walkovers is that, at least for myself, it took me years to learn bridge walkovers, both front and back walkovers. I've just learned very recently, but my first arching cartwheel, my first forward cartwheel, I had within weeks of practice. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not specifically the most easy thing to learn, but chances are you can already do some smaller version of it. And then, as usual, we'll just be climbing skill ladders, improving our routes and seeds, and eventually you'll have an arching cartwheel for sure. The reminder, what's the key about good arching cartwheels is how well can you hit that single leg arching root shape. Specifically, how close can your feet be together, and then how much momentum can you carry over with your free limbs, and how much can you use your bottom arm to push yourself up to come to stand. Those are first little hints about what makes good arching cartwheels.